How's it going, you guys? Damocles here, and today I'm talking about something that's a little bit of a difficult subject to talk about, and that is my biggest problem I have with Unite right now, and what I think is actually Unite's biggest problem that could potentially kill the game or be detrimental to its growth, and that is the ranked system and the non-existent matchmaking system. Right now, ranked is a complete and utter joke at all levels. I'm not just talking about master, but at all levels. And matchmaking really doesn't exist. And the reason why, sorry, I got something in my eye. The reason why I think it's such a big issue and why not too many people are talking about it, maybe they just don't know, but it is the root cause of 90% of the complaints that you hear with Pokemon Unite on the subreddit, on Twitter, from other content creators, I'm sure, on Twitch, whatever. Because the quality of MOBA matches is obviously an intrinsic part of what makes MOBAs fun to play. And it's the ranked grind and the ability to go and continue to learn and improve over time on that MOBA learning curve. Even though Unite is a super casual MOBA and it's very easy to play at all levels, it still has a learning curve. And part of the fun and enjoyment that people get, and part of that addiction to MOBAs people have, is learning and improving and making skillful plays and stuff like that. And right now, the current state of Unite does not allow for you to get enjoyment from that. It robs you of that. And so I'm going to talk about ranked. I'm going to talk about matchmaking. I already made a 30-minute video about this, but don't think I'm going to post it because it was too long. But I'm going to try and be a little bit more succinct here. I'm also going to talk about League of Legends ranked. So bear with me. But if you find this to be informational at all or entertaining, or you want to share it around, feel free, and subscribing would be great. But I just have to get this off my chest because it's just really frustrating. Because I love Unite, but you have to be critical if you love something and you want it to improve. So just to summarize, guys, what I want from Unite is to be able to go and play competitive matches, to enjoy games, whether it's in standard, whether it's in ranked, and to have fair and competitive games like you have in other MOBAs. Okay, no nonsense, no like ridiculous differences in skill levels. None of that. I just want to be able to have fun and enjoy playing the game. You know, play standard with viewers or with people that are just learning and teach them, or, you know, hop into ranked and not have to constantly be in a 5 stack or sweating super hard to enjoy playing ranked. And it's just right now, it's a frustrating time to play Unite because it's really hard to do that. Where do I begin? So the biggest issue is at the root of everything is just the general lack of matchmaking at all. In other MOBAs, like League of Legends, for example, you have a thing called your matchmaking rating, MMR. You have it in a bunch of other MOBAs too, but it's basically a hidden scale of like player skill. Think of it just as like a number, like 1,000 or 1,200 or something, and it basically determines. It's used to determine what is a competitive match in any mode, not just normal games, not just ranked games, but in both. And usually you have a different MMR or a matchmaking ranking in ranked than you do in standard, but it still exists in the normal game modes so that you can have enjoyable game modes in both. Unite, however, seems to just be basing their matchmaking off of whatever is putting the quickest matches together, and that's it. Even in ranked play, it seems to just put together the quickest possible matches with the people that are online within the mega wide net that Unite casts for what it deems to be acceptable ranks to be playing in the same match. And so what ends up happening is just as a really extreme example, okay? And I'm not tooting my own horn here, but I just need the reason I have to show you how extreme this is. Just in standard alone. So I got to masters in about 84-ish games with about a 78 to 80% win rate. I played mostly duo and trio the whole time. I maybe played like 8 5-stack games. So I got to masters in a pretty fast time period with significant success. Okay, very quick climb. I like to play standard games because I like to play with my friends that aren't, that haven't been playing MOBAs for a decade, or they're just learning, or I like to play with viewers. And so I play a ton of standard games too. And for a significant amount of time, I was rank 3 in the entire world for standard game win streaks. I think I had like 56 or something like that. Not intentional, but it just happened that way. So it's, I do really well in ranked, and in standard, I'm definitely not a slouch in standard either. And the reason why I'm telling you that information is because I will still go in a month after Unite's release now, and I will go and I'll get placed in matches both against and with people on my team that have not unlocked Potion yet. Okay, we're talking about people in their first 3 games of Unite ever are getting matched on my team with someone who has a high win rate for Masters and is literally ranked 3 in the world in Standard. That should never be the case. Regardless of how, good that beginner player might be, it's their 3rd game ever. And, as much fun as it can be to be on the winning side of a stomp, if you're trying to attract people to a super casual MOBA, or you're trying to get fun games to be played, putting those 2 spheres of influence, those 2 players should never be remotely close to in the same games. Okay, it's 2 drastically different levels of play, and it's not fun for me to have that player on my team. It's not fun for them to be on the opposing team. It's not fun for anybody to have that drastic of a skill difference. I mean, that's a huge skill gap. Brand new. Rank 3 in the highest rank tier. That should never happen. And in League of Legends, that would never happen. Okay, you have MMR for a reason. You go and you look and you say, hey, this person literally has a 90% win rate across all of their Unite games. Okay? That person's MMR, hypothetically, I'm just going to throw out a random number, that person's MMR could be 2,000. Okay? A brand spanking new player is not going to have a MMR of 2,000. There's no situation in which a brand spanking new player would ever be placed with somebody who has a 2,000 MMR. Maybe someone who has an 1,800 MMR and a bunch of 1,800 MMR players, which would average their team to be 1,800. And then maybe you toss a 2,000 MMR player onto the other team with someone who is, maybe 1,700. A bunch of 1,700s. So that maybe it averages out. Even then, that's not that great, but you get my point, is that you're supposed to be making, proper matchmaking is going to make it so these games are remotely competitive and enjoyable and remotely in the same hemisphere as far as skill is concerned, and it just doesn't exist in Unite. And so even when you're trying to play the most casual game mode and just enjoy yourself, with no ranked restrictions or anything like that, you're going and you're getting put into these ridiculously lopsided games where people have no idea. They're playing with someone who's rank 3, but they don't even know that you shouldn't be having 4 people in the jungle, or that it's not okay to sit in base as a Charmander all game. It should never happen. And, that's just my little personal anecdote. I'm sure you guys have had a bunch of different situations very similar, but this makes for a horrendous new player experience. It makes for a horrendous veteran player experience. I mean veteran as in someone who's been playing the game for a month, not like actual veteran rank. And it just leads to a bunch of toxicity within the community, both people hating on new players hating the game because they're getting destroyed within 5 seconds of playing the game, literally out of the tutorial. And it's detrimental to Unite's growth as a whole. Now, that's just standard. If we look at ranked, which should be the great equalizer, ranked play should be, you know, in standard, maybe in a game like League of Legends, you have a little bit of a wider net as far as MMR is concerned. You don't have somebody who is, you know, it's okay to have some diamond players and some gold players in a team, because it's standard. It's not that big of a deal, right? It's still the casual mode. But in ranked, it should be the goal is to have fair and competitive games among closely ranked players. But because of how Unite is set up and because of the aforementioned matchmaking woes, you end up getting these players at all levels of play that still don't know how to play the game. And so when you go and you have these players at all levels of play, it can seem like every single person doesn't know that you shouldn't go and try and solo Zapdos, or doesn't know that you shouldn't go and you know, do Zapdos when you're ahead so that it gets stolen, or doesn't know rotate to Dreadnought at 720. Like, this is why it's so pervasive and why you see so many complaints. It's because of the matchmaking and because the ranking system goes and is, you know, stacked on top of that matchmaking system. It rots everything from beneath. It festers and it causes so many more player problems because of the core underlying function of matchmaking and ranked play being a total joke or being non-existent. Now, in ranked play, it's you know, it's a fairly easy game to play, okay? But if you are a bad player, there are a large amount of cushions and loss forgiveness that exist in the game that allow bad players to, I shouldn't say bad players, I should say players that are still learning to progress to levels that they shouldn't be at, okay? What should happen, right? Well, let's transplant that game of the Charmander who doesn't have Potion unlocked yet and put him in a ranked match, okay? What should happen is that person should be in a game with a bunch of other brand new players. And they should go, and if they win a game, okay, their MMR goes up a little bit on the back end, and next game they're playing against a better team. And if they lose to that better team, then they go nowhere. They stay right where they are until they can beat somebody from that level of play. And then they can go and they continue to climb. That's what the ranked grind is about in every single MOBA. It is a series of step ladders to a plateau until you get good enough that you can keep climbing that ladder. But the problem with Matchmaking Unite is that those players, because of the ease of being able to transition from beginner to great to expert to veteran to ultra to masters, those players are literally at every single level of play now. Every single level. And so you end up with these games that should be, in ranked, a semi-serious game mode, even though it's a casual MOBA. It should be a serious game mode where people are trying to win, people are trying to improve, and people are trying to do their best. You have those players coupled with people that have no clue what they're doing. And it's not necessarily their fault that you have somebody who has no idea what they're doing at Ultra. It's the game's fault. On a developmental level, there should be no instance of someone who plays in that manner, who consistently doesn't score or just sits around to get to Ultra and to Masters, but there are. And you see it. On the subreddit, there's quite a few posts. People run simulations. People run, just do the basic math on what it takes to actually climb in Pokemon Unite. And people can get to Masters with an absurd amount of games. But on the most extreme level, you can get to Masters with like a losing win rate if you are able to just piggyback off of the loss forgiveness methods and just luck from getting win streaks and getting extra pip-ups in ranked play. You can straight up just luck straight to Masters. And then once you get to Masters, it's not like you go up against a bunch of people that are insane and you drop out, so you actually have to be good. You're just safe. You can sit there in your naivety and have no idea how to play the game, but still be in the highest rank of Pokemon Unite. So it just makes the entire ranking system an absolute joke. Even at the absolute highest levels of Master, it makes it a joke. And so the way League of Legends handles it, or at least it did when I was playing it, if it's changed, let me know, is you go and you have, there are certain tiers and there are promotion matches. Some people aren't big fans of promos, but what they serve to do is essentially when you go and say if you were going from, what is it, Great 5 into Expert, to prove that this person isn't just lucking through everything, okay, and their MMR is rising because they've been somehow winning games, and for whatever reason the system, I'm not even going to talk about the individual, looking at individual skill in a game, like League can do, right, where they can go and say this person's scoring 30 kills every single game, like maybe they need to get bumped up the ranks faster. Unite is just, I'm pretty sure it's just win-loss, nothing like individual, aside from the MVP. But regardless, imagine you are in Great 5, and in order to get out of Great 5, you need to win the next, you need to win basically a 3 out of 5 game series. Okay, and so what this does is it makes it so that that person that is running, whatever it is, damage Eldegoss, jungling, and trying to solo Zapdos, it makes it so that person has to go and consistently play well in a series of games in order to actually get into the next tier of play. And it also just takes a lot longer to get through the League of Legends ranking system. It's not just like, oh, I just played 10 games and I'm on a win streak, so now now I go from bronze to diamond, like you can in Unite. It's like you have to consistently keep playing, and then the game's going to put you up against a super hard team, and your MMR is going to be like, whoa, I don't know if we can handle this. And if you do it, then you get a little bump up in LP, you get a little bump up in your MMR. But if you don't, then you got to go and you got to fight against these people at the higher rank before you can really step up. Unite, you don't have any of that. It's straight up like you can just go and you can straight up get to Masters by brute forcing the amount of games you play and just having a 50% win rate, which I'm not trying to belittle anybody who got to Masters with, a similar win rate to that, but you're talking about the absolute highest rank that exists in Pokemon Unite. And getting there while winning and losing half of your games, it's just not, it doesn't serve anyone any good. It doesn't help that player get better by allowing them to get to that ranking, because for reasons I'll talk about later, you can either you'll just get slaughtered and you won't improve and you'll just hate the game, or you'll be up there and you'll just be ruining people's matches if you don't know how to actually play the game. So something needs to be done in that regard. Like right now, the problem is that the difference between Masters and all the other ranks is basically nothing. It's like you have people in there that have no idea what they're doing, and then if they are trying hard or something like that, then they're in a pre-made. That's pretty much it. So if you wonder why I like to play a lot of standard games with like friends and stuff like that, it's because like if I don't want to sweat and like go and like mega try hard and Unite and play in a 5-stack, there's zero point in playing Masters games, because there's literally there's very little difference between playing those games in solo queue and going and playing just a standard game. You get the same types of people, the same types of trolls, everything. And then another thing, I hope I illustrated my point enough on like the essence of the problem with climbing and everything. It's just in League of Legends, which is not a perfect game, MMR and your ability to climb, that's part of the fun, is like progressively facing harder opponents and trying to climb up that ladder. And in Unite, it's so pervasive now, you would have to reset everybody's ranks and widen how long it actually takes to climb to try and get any kind of a semblance of actual ranking systems. Because right now, Master players, I can go and put on a 5-stack and play with the veteran players. And veteran players, it's even easier to luck in a veteran. It's a lower ranking, right? And I'm not trying to poop on veterans or anything like that. But it's like, if you can luck into Masters, you can absolutely luck into any of the other things. And if you're lucking into those things, but not lucking into Masters, then it's an even worse matchup. And this brings me to my next point. If I need to clarify that, drop it in the comments. This video is already going on pretty long in comparison. But the last thing I just want to talk about is it's such an absolute joke. Coming from playing MOBAs for a long time, it's an absolute joke that you can have 5-man pre-mades in the exact same games as solo queue players in the exact same leaderboards and ranking system. It is the biggest atrocity that exists in Pokemon Unite right now. It's such a joke. Like, I can't... like, if you are somebody who's, you know, like, I've played MOBAs for a really long time. Just the concept of having 5-man stacks going up against solo, duo, and trio queue players, it's laughable. It really is. Like, the fact that it exists at all is hilarious. Even in games like Smite, I'm not sure if Smite allows you to queue up with 5 into ranked like that, but I think it does. I think if you queue up with 5 in ranked Smite, then you only go up against other ranked 5 stacks. You don't go up against solo players. Why? Because it's a joke. It's ridiculous. A 5-man pre-made and solo queue are totally different games. It's not even remotely the same game. It's like comparing Pokemon Unite to Tic-Tac-Toe. Like, you have an entirely different level of communication, execution, and team play. And Unite, being as casual as it is, the majority of... I don't want to say the only thing that matters, but... team fighting is setting a massive precedent in Unite right now. I don't know if that's the right wording. Team fighting is of monumental importance in Unite right now, put it that way. It's one of the, if not the most important thing you can do. And team fighting comes from, good team fighting comes from solid communication. And the fact that you can have a group of 5 sitting on Discord in a pre-made, being able to talk out every single stage of a game, going up against potentially people that are literally 2 tiers of ranks below them that are not grouped up at all. They're solo, duo, and trio queue players that can't communicate outside of stupid little quick chat options. That's the biggest joke and the biggest black mark on Pokemon Unite rank that there is. Because it comes back to what I was talking about earlier, where there's no, it doesn't help me improve. It doesn't show off my skill if I go and I stomp a player that doesn't have potion unlocked yet. And it's the exact same way trying to play Unite ranked at any level, but specifically Masters, where it's like, all right, now I should be getting good matches. You're not getting good matches. And if you want to actually play Masters, once you get up to that point, and you're a solo queue player or a duo queue or a trio queue player, you're going to be going up against a 5-stack. And it's not fair. But even if the 5-stack is atrocious, you can literally go, and I could sit there for a whole day with a ranked 5-stack of master players, and I could play nothing but veteran and ultra solo queue players. It's ridiculous. There's no fun in that. There is nothing to be gained on either side from doing that, other than just ego and patting myself on the back. There's nothing. There's no fulfillment. There's no increased rate of skill. And so in a game like League of Legends, at the highest tiers of play, okay, this is how ranked works. This is how the highest tier of ranked works in League of Legends, okay? You have... So in League of Legends, you have LP, which is just a number that you use of points you need in order to progress to the next rank tier. And you use LP to go through all the preceding tiers, through Iron, Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, Diamond, Master, Grandmaster, and Challenger, okay? But until Grandmaster at Grandmaster and Challenger, instead of just being able to continue climbing with just points, you need a minimum of, like, I don't know, 200 LP in order to get into Grandmaster. Okay? A minimum. And then once you get that, you need to continue winning games, and you need to overtake the lowest person that is in Grandmaster. Okay? The person with the lowest LP in Grandmaster. And that effectively kicks them out of Grandmaster. Okay? And Grandmaster and Challenger, I think they're both on on a timer as well, where they will rotate people out if there's inactivity or something like that. So you have a system where if you want to get into the highest tiers of play, you have to consistently perform. You are not able to go and just 5-stack and roll over solo queue players that have 0 communication that are 2 ranks below you, right? Like imagine if the best player in the world, okay, let's say Faker in League of Legends, is able to go and maintain his top level challenger status by going up against platinum ranked players in League of Legends. That's what happens in Pokemon Unite right now, okay? Like, it's ridiculous. But so you have to stack up amount of wins. So imagine in Pokemon Unite, if instead of going from Ultra to Masters just required a Masters promotion, just getting like 1 pip up into Masters and then never having to rank down. Imagine if instead you had to go and you had to accumulate 20 diamonds in order to get into Master. And once you were in Master, or in order to get into Master, and then you would go and you would have to win your first game and overtake the person at the lowest level of Master, the lowest numerical person, say somebody who's at 1,000 or something. And you have to keep playing and keep rising. And then the only way for you to go from Master in Pokemon Unite to the newest level of Pokemon Unite, which is, I don't know, we'll just call it like the Elite Four or something, is to accumulate wins, get to the top of the Master ranks, and then in that allotted time frame and without getting knocked out yourself, go and stack up 400 additional points to get into the next tier. And then to get to that highest tier, you just have to play and you have to win or you'll just get dropped out. That's how you go and you narrow down who is actually the best players in the game. In League of Legends, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, I just looked at a website briefly earlier. I think it's like Challenger, which is the highest level plays, 99% pro players and just really great players. And it accounts for 0.0013% of the entire population of players. It is literally like a couple hundred people per region. Okay? And you compare that to Unite, where you've got 5 stacks if you want to win, solo queue, you're going to be miserable and you're going to either stop playing ranked, you're going to stop playing Unite, or you're going to hop into standard. So that already reduces the skill level of Masters and reduces the skill level of other game modes. It leads to more toxicity. It leads to people hating new players. It leads to people hating ranked. It leads to people hating the system. It leads to people blaming stuff for their games like Zapdos, where at a certain level of play, people know, like, I need you to think about it this way, right? Like, if you look at it a ranked system where everybody is on a similar level, you're going to get people who on both sides, and people have had these games, both teams know how to rotate to Dreadnought. Both teams know, don't go in solo Zapdos. Those are fun. Those are more enjoyable games. And maybe in a different ranking system, that happens all the time. But right now, you might have 2 people in a game that understand that they need to do that, and 3 people that don't. But those people are all rising at the same rate, and those 2 people on that team that know how to do that, and the 2 people on the opposing team that know how to do that, they might never meet. They're supposed to. They're supposed to be matched together so that you have competitive games, but they might never meet because of how matchmaking is set up right now. And this leads to people generally going and saying, oh, Zapdos is doing this. Bad teammates are doing this. But really what it is why is matchmaking going and continually allowing someone who knows how to play the game to be matched up with somebody who has no idea how to play the game? That's what you really need to be thinking about, guys. That is what is causing all of these issues. And then you can actually look at the balance of the game itself when people are doing the correct things. But right now, because of how bad it is, you can't, because you have this hodgepodge of people thrown together, and the only method of getting people together that know how to remotely play is in a 5-man pre-made, which is also ruining the Unite ranked experience. This video still went on for a super long time. Dang it. All right, well, that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was somewhat informational to you, or you know, I hope it shines some light on something that maybe you didn't think about. If you actually managed to like listen and watch to the end here, I mean, props to you. You know, I don't know what to say. I meant for this video to be shorter than the other one, but I think it's gonna be longer. I'm so terrible at this. But I just had to. I had to get my thoughts out. I had to vent because it's such a big problem, and I love this game, but you see it already with people not wanting to play ranked, not wanting to play Unite at all. You know, friends lists are becoming more and more inactive. And even though, you know, Pokemon's a huge IP, MOBAs are a really successful and popular genre, and mobile's coming out, this needs to get fixed because it's such a huge issue. It's going to persist, and it's just going to get worse. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love this game. I just want what's best for it. And, you know, if you made it this far, props to you guys. Consider subscribing. You're the real ones. Let me know down below if you're one of the real ones that made it here. But that's it for me, guys. Sorry for venting and ranting. Damocles out.